almost feel silly every time I talk about this because I don't hear it a lot from people, but I think it's something that really should be talked about more. And that's finding or choosing a destination that matches your energy. Hang tight. I promise I'm not going to go all crazy um, on down some path that doesn't make any sense. When you go on a vacation to a destination, you don't want to go to a place where you want to be totally relaxed and end up in a square with a million people and hustle and bustle and honking horns. That's a mismatch to energy that you have. And the reality is not every destination fits the version of you. There's tons of versions of you, there's different seasons of you, and destinations, I'm just going to tell you right now, they don't always change. Sometimes they can change based on seasonality, but that being said, they don't all fit every version of you. Perfect example that just came to mind as I said that is one of my favorite cities in the whole world. I love Edinburgh, Scotland. It is a place that I know I can run to and feel at home and at peace and breathe. That being said, it depends on the time of year that I go. While I think the city can fit just about or accommodate just about every version of me that's possible, I know there's one time of the year that it just does not fit any version of me, and that is during the Fringe Festival. I accidentally ended up there once. Didn't realize that was a thing until like 2 weeks before I went on the trip. I was very much in need of a getaway and going to the place that I know I can breathe and relax. And I showed up to a city that was overrun with festival goers, which is so not me. Festivals are not me at all. All that to be said, I had a great time. I have a lot of fun stories from that time and wonderful things that I got to do. But that destination at that time of the season did not fit me and my energy and what I needed. I had grown so used to going to Edinburgh in the off season where there's fewer people and the weather's maybe a little more dreary because Scotland. But um I that's what I was used to. I was used to being able to wander the city and be able to breathe and not fight crowds. So, all that to say, your destination has to match your energy. And it's a little more complicated than it sounds, but it's something that you can figure out and you'll be so grateful that you did figure it out cuz it's really upsetting when you spend a lot of time and money planning, traveling to get somewhere and it's just not what you expected. And that is another thing that I love to talk about when it comes to finding a destination that matches your energy. You need to level set your expectations because your expectation can skew your choices and things like social media these days can also skew your expectations of a place. We see these beautiful photos of destinations and we see pictures with no one in them when the reality is very different. In all likelihood, you're not going to be the only person at the destination you've chosen. You are not going to be the only person in the picture at the Trevi Fountain. Good luck. Been there, done that, tried it at all different hours. You're not going to be the only person trying to get a picture. Gosh, I don't know. Choose a destination. Uh, Choose something you've seen on social, whether that's a waterfall or something like the Eiffel Tower. The reality is you're not going to be the only person that's there. So social can skew our choices. It and it can make something that looks so beautiful, wonderful, and romanticized that's what we're expecting when we go there, and that's where our energy is. And then when you show up, it's out of alignment, and now maybe you're frustrated, you're stressed, you have anxiety, there's anger perhaps, and that's not something that you want to have. And that's where you really need to sit down and look at the expectations and the reality. I very much recommend at reading blogs versus just going to social media. I feel they tend to have a much more realistic view. I also love to read different reviews of places from people, whether it's Google reviews or any other, like Get Your Guide reviews, anything like that. They tend to be a lot more realistic about what to expect when you get somewhere. And I think that's super helpful so that your energy matches. There's, that kind of segues into another thing that you really should think about, and that is why a trip can feel exhausting when it looked amazing on paper. Part of that is the expectations, but it's also looking at and finding a destination that matches your energy level. It matches your pace of travel. Are you someone that likes to have a little more time in between to wander, explore, have a cup of coffee at the local shop? Or are you someone that likes to be go, go, go? You like to have your entire day planned? Those are things that are definitely high on the list of considerations when you're planning a trip, when you're looking at destinations, and all of that is totally separate from social media, believe it or not. It's things that you really should sit down and make a decision on before you begin your search. And there's also another thing to consider, which is the comfort versus the challenge. Are you in a place in your life where you really need to just recharge? Your cup is empty, and maybe comfort for you looks like beach. I always harp on the beach, I feel like, but I feel like that's just such a relaxing place for so many people. Maybe comfort is an all-inclusive resort or going on a cruise where you're self-contained and everything's taken care of for you. You have a schedule. You don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. You can go to the spa. I personally love cruising, so I totally understand that. Or maybe there's a flip side of that where you need a challenge. And what does challenge look like for you? Is that climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, which is, a thing that a lot of people have done and love and have said is a challenge? Or is a challenge for you going to a destination that is maybe more off the beaten path, and it's a challenge for you logistically and for your brain, and it's just different from perhaps what you do in your 9 to 5 job. So those are all definitely things to think about when you're looking at a destination and trying to find one that matches your energy. It seems perhaps a little complicated. I mean, here I am talking about it for probably the better part of 8 minutes, but I think it's so important. And I think it really plays into having a successful trip that you talk about for the rest of your life. And you can't stop talking about. So these are all things that I spend a lot of time with people when I work with them planning a trip, just to help find what fits them, and knowing that we're planning a trip that is for them and about them and fits them and the energy and where they are in this season of life versus following the trends. It's so easy to fall into that hole of, well, I saw it on social and it was beautiful and now I want to go, versus looking at the reality of the situation. So if any of this resonated, if there's something that you're interested in talking about more, please let me know. Jump on my calendar, shoot me an email, drop a comment, whatever works for you. I love talking travel. I love planning trips. I love helping people um, follow and catch their dreams especially when it comes to travel. So let's chat. If you're not ready for that yet, that's no problem. Check out the blog, jump on the newsletter, or just, hey, come in, hang out for a little bit, this little corner of the internet. Super excited to have you here. And I will catch you on the next one. Bye.